My name is Christy Strasser, and I'm the CEO at EverHeart Hospice. I had worked here as a hospice nurse, and my daughter was healthy. Had no idea when I had started with this organization that eventually my daughter would be served on our hospice program. Quite frankly, Karina had grown up with me being a hospice nurse and talking about hospice, but when the time came that we needed hospice, that she needed hospice, it was scary. It was still because we were living that. That was my loved one, and part of me couldn't believe that we were there and that it was really time, and she was not going to survive.
I was her primary nurse at that particular time. We did 1 to 2 visits, I think, per week. And then it was keeping her comfortable, trying to allow her mom, Christy, to actually be the parent and not so much the caretaker and the caregiver. Karina was she was very unique. She was very special. She knew what she wanted. She knew all along about her disease. She was very, very knowledgeable in her disease. She had her funeral planned. She had, which music she wanted to play. She knew everything that she wanted at that particular time for her end-of-life care.
My daughter, Karina, had a palliative care physician that really had a lot of discussions with us about what quality of life meant to Karina, and that helped us really feel like we were truly following what her wishes were. And it was especially helpful in the times after she had passed away, where I would feel guilty or think, had I done enough? Often then I would revert back to those conversations about maybe I would have liked to have kept her forever, even if that meant her being in, bed bound or things like that. And that was one of the things that she had said was not quality of life for her. Karina also needed help as she was coming to the understanding that she was not going to survive. And she needed someone to be able to talk to who didn't have all the emotions. When she would talk to me, I would get tearful, even when I tried not to. But she needed someone that, as she was working through her anticipatory grief of losing her life, to be able to talk to a social worker, bereavement coordinator about those feelings that she had. Being able to have someone else come and help us through that was so reassuring. I didn't need to do that alone and carry that burden. Megan would come, the aide, and she would work with her. She looked beautiful, and she almost would be glowing after that visit.
With Karina, she always told you exactly how she wanted things. That was just Karina. But I'll never forget, she would have a certain way she'd want her hair curled. And there was one day they were getting family pictures, and she wanted it just a little bit of waves. So we made sure she had just a little bit of waves. She said, "I know my dad's gonna notice my hair." And I said, "Well, of course he will. It looks great. You look great." And she said, "No, we have a rule in our house that when we get our hair done, he has to notice that we've gotten our hair done." So it was and we chuckled and, we laughed about it. But yeah, she always knew the right thing to say.
There's a point where, as a hospice nurse, we ask families and talk to families about telling their loved one it's okay to go. People would say, "How can you do that?" how can you be a hospice nurse? But going through that with my daughter, I believe it's one of the most selfless acts that you can give someone is to say, I know that my heart is gonna break and I don't wanna let you go, but I know that you have suffered and it's time and that it's okay for you to go. I wouldn't have chosen anyone else to care for my daughter because I had very high standards. I had high expectations of her needs being met. I know that everyone that is on this team that's involved in this organization, I would trust with my loved one, and I did. They honored my daughter's life every day that they were involved in it and allowed her to die with respect, which I think is the ultimate honoring of life.
I'll never forget when they had asked me to come and be her hospice aide. I was nervous because, everyone in our community knew of her and just her wisdom she shared. But when I met Karina and we established a relationship, it was the most rewarding thing. And that's something I will be forever grateful for, is for her allowing me to come in and help care for her.
Christy was the nurse and she was taking very good care of Karina, but I think with our support, Christy could relax and go back and just be with her and not have to worry about the medication being given, that she could just sit with her and hold her hand and cry with her or whatever they needed to do.
As she was dying, there was a time where I was laying with her. Hospice had taken over the role of the caregiver so I could just be the mother. And I laid there holding her and felt peace of that moment, knowing that I would never hold her again. And that was a priceless moment that just, means the world to me. She had made a sign that talks about breathing, just breathe. She had this closet full of clothes and her belongings, and I would go in after she was gone and just hyperventilate. And one time I was in her closet and I found a sign that said, just breathe. And I still don't know to this day where she got it and where it came from, but it's a sign, from her that sometimes just to breathe.